So speaking of strong, and our next topic, we got a guy who's thought to be artificially strong
Yeah.
in John Jones versus Alex Gustafsson. What'd you think of that fight, B?
I really wasn't surprised, and we talked about this a little bit last week. How we both thought that it would be easier.
We said this would happen.
Yeah, it would be
In
easier.
fact, specifically, John said, if my camp gets you for a second fight, it's a
wrap.
bad look. And that was pretty much what I said was, and he actually talked about the fourth round too in the pre-fight. I said in that fourth round, he figured this kid out.
Yes.
And he was just too out of shape to beat the hell out of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he did beat the hell out of him in the fourth
He
round,
did. Yeah.
but it wasn't enough to put him down.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
he was so
it was enough to put him down. I don't know how he stayed up from those elbows.
Yeah. Well, John gave him a break.
Yeah.
Literally, that's why. If John, like, there was a point where Gustafsson wanted to leave this world, and John leaned on him instead of hitting him. Gustafsson had no ability to hit him back.
I think John might have been a little tired because of the lack of training. Because usually John's finishing instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought last time that's what was happening. So why don't you break down the fight from your end, and I'll give you my analysis.
What I and kind of to piggyback on what John was, when he said that, first of all, let's go back. You want to know why John Jones is, in my opinion, the greatest fighter to ever live? John is the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
John is physically gifted.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of athleticism. Like, he's not the fastest guy, but he's not slow. He's not the strongest guy, but he can definitely hurt you. But from a physical standpoint, in terms of dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
he's an enigma. You know what I mean? Like, to be that tall and lean in the right areas to the point where he doesn't have massive issues cutting weight. Also, to be a guy who shapes up and cuts up pretty easy. Like, when he gets ready, I'm gonna do it. You know, and if you think that that's about steroids, then you don't really understand conditioning and the way that the body is made. Because the way he gets himself into shape is not about steroids. It's about just genetically his body responds to weight training better than most.
And to piggyback off of that, we talk a lot on this show about, we don't categorize all athletic skills. When we talk about athleticism in basketball, we generally mean speed and jumping, and sometimes we bring up strength. But other skills like your eyes and your flexibility do matter.
Yeah.
And John, when it comes to his eyes and his flexibility, is elite.
Yeah.
At that size, is incredibly flexible and incredible eyes. Yeah, like in fact, that was my point with the fourth round in the Gustafsson thing. But from that point on, his eyes changed. He could see the way the kid's body was moving. And if you look at the fight, even hits that he seemed to take, look at when he starts to react in that fight. It's because of his eyes, man. Like, the guy starts to throw a kick, and John already gets in a position to block it, even though he's too out of shape to do what he knows he should do. You know, he's still moving to block it way ahead of time.
It's his spatial intelligence.
Absolutely.
He has
well said.
Uncanny spatial intelligence. And you can't teach anybody spatial intelligence.
That's tough.
You just have it or you don't. Like, me being able to absolutely gauge when you're close enough to touch me, which is not just about how far away you're standing. It's a gauge. It's an internal gauge of how fast you are, how long your arms are, and how quickly I can react to it, in conjunction to how close we're standing. And mentally, a person with great spatial intelligence is processing all of that information like this.
Yeah.
On the fly. And that's what he does. And so I thought that in this fight, John already knew exactly what was going to happen. He said, I'm going to nullify the boxing. and I'm going to nullify the boxing by staying at the distance where I can do damage and that he cannot. And I know that he wants to use his footwork, but I am going to cautiously stalk him. And I am going to change levels. I'm going to give him multiple things to think about. I'm going to kick at the legs. I'm going to give you a couple half-speed takedown attempts. Not because I really want to get the takedown at this point, but just because I want you to think about defending the lower half.
Also, that with the takedown attempts, I think what was happening was, honestly, it was a Street Fighter. It was, I'm going to stand outside in kicking range so that you can't punch me when I'm far. And when I'm close, I'm going to get close into grappling range.
Yes.
And we're going to stay in my, exactly, the mid-range is dead to you.
Yes.
We're going to play in my range the entire time. I don't need to take you down because I'm just cutting off your punches. And I think I have the advantage if we do start wrestling. So I'm fine clinching and grappling.
He has
right, exactly. Well, you know, a lot of people didn't think so in the first fight. They thought that Gustafsson's takedown defense was too much for John. He got the real takedown in that fight. So, you know, some people had doubts. And that's why I say John didn't think so. We think it was because John was out of shape and not taking the fight seriously. But if people have the other argument, they have evidence to back that argument up if they want to make it. But yeah, I think it was a combination. I think that was another reason he went to the grappling, is to inside your punching range, outside your punching range. But when you want to punch, that's not happening. We ain't having a boxing match.
We're not having a boxing match. And so Gustafsson got a little impatient. And I think that I think in some ways it was a good impatient, because at the direction of his corner, they told him, you got to put pressure, you got to throw more shots. And I didn't hear them say that, but I know that they probably said that because I understand who his corner guys are and just their track record. And then also looking at the way he came out in the third round, he came out looking to press the action because he already knew, I'm getting picked apart, I'm getting tired because John is jabbing me at the body. He's giving me some body kicks. And Gustafsson doesn't have great wind. He doesn't have great wind. And if you poke at that midsection, he's going to start to wear down. And John, I'm telling you, like I said, you want to know why John is the best. Listen to the way he broke down the fight at the end. It was straight. Me and my son were listening to him like, this is just straight game talk. I'm talking about, like, if you were watching or listening to LeBron James talk about the last 5 plays of a game and how he saw it and why he made these decisions, why he went here with the ball. John Jones was doing exactly that, talking about how he just dismantled a world-class fighter. And it was really, I give you you want to know how good John was defensively in this fight? In the first fight, Gustafsson landed an average of 22 significant strikes per round. He landed a total of 22 significant strikes in the entire second fight.
Yeah. And what's important about that also is, in the first fight, John was chasing him. And in this fight, Gustafsson was the guy who was forced to chase. And my brother asked me, he's like, why is Gustafsson not being more aggressive? And I said, well, actually what's happening is he's being too aggressive. He's missing too many punches. This was before his corner said it, right? I said, he's missing too many punches, but he has a serious problem on his hands because he's getting hurt at every part of the fight right now. Everything hurts him. Like, just because he's not staggering and stumbling, understand everything hurts him, right? So he's getting hit by everything John wants to hit him with, and he's not getting anything in return.
Yes.
And he knows
that's a taxing thing mentally as a fighter.
Well, he has to change. He has to change, right? So he's trying to be more aggressive, but his problem is, in order to be more aggressive, he has to move into kicking range. And he's tired of getting kicked already. He knows he can't get kicked anymore. This is before his leg really got hurt. Once his leg got hurt, he was absolutely done in that fight. You know, it was 100% over. But similar to the last fight, that was a bill John started paying down on from the very, very beginning of the fight. I think Gustafsson had absolutely no chance. I think he was completely outclassed. And this is not surprising to me at all, the way it happened. Honestly, I don't think any of it was surprising, like in the least.
No, I was not surprised. I was not surprised at all.
Which we both called on the show that it could go this way.
Yeah, I knew that if John was John, that was it. You know, I mean, you can't give a guy like John a second look at you when especially I didn't like what Gustafsson was saying. And a lot of times fighters say things but during the pre-fight and it's not indicative of the way they're going to approach the fight.
Right. It's trying to sell a fight. So,
but no, not even the braggadocious stuff, but what he said, he was talking about his approach. And he was like, I don't think I got to change nothing. I was getting to him. I'm like, bro, you underestimating who you fighting, man. That, you know, you're not only underestimating John, Greg Jackson and these guys. This is a camp, bro.
John figured you out in the ring last time.
They
sat down for months and break you down. You cannot come the same way against this guy.
Not against this guy and that team. And that's what he meant by if you give us a rematch. So I got great coaches and they have the greatest tool without him heaping praise on himself. That's essentially what he meant. With my physical gifts and my own octagon IQ mixed with genius level trainers and coaches about this sport, if I look at you twice with all things created equal, with me still being who I am and those guys still being who they are, I'm going to get you. And we haven't seen the light heavyweight yet who, you know, I mean, there's no question in my mind that John would win the heavyweight title if he moves up. There's no question. There's no question in my mind. I mean, John would come in at probably 235.
He probably coming heavier than that.
You know, I think he,
I mean, you know why? Because he likes to blow up. Because he loves bodybuilding. So I think John, maybe he would come down afterwards, but I think there will be a while where he's walking around.
235 is a lot of weight for him.
It is a lot of weight. I agree. I'm just saying he's 6'4".
Yeah.
It's, you know, because honestly, if he put anything on them little chicken legs of his, that's 10 pounds right there.
Right. Because John at 235 is going to look like the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, he could throw a good 10, 15 pounds on those legs.
Yeah.
Without changing the upper body and be.
He probably has a hard time gaining on the legs.
He might.
He probably has because they just little, man. He got Deontay Wilder legs.
Yeah, they are tiny. He look like he'd be skipping all the leg days.
Yeah,
I know he don't.
He all right, but it looks like
he kicked too hard and moved too well. But man,
I've seen him squat. So I don't know why they don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why it doesn't. But it whatever it is, it's working.
Yeah. No shade on that. Keep them just how they are because they're doing their job just well.
Pocket, I'll be weak. I'm rather unique.